no responsibility for the Arts Center. Once again, we proceed with misinformation. Translated, there is an independent board for the Arts Center. It's not, I don't care whether the Arts Council feels good, bad, or indifferent to this. They are not the party. There is an independent board that's worked very hard over the years to keep that Arts Center alive, functioning, and effective. And not even to know about this work and confuse it with the Arts Council, which we subsidize here, reveals the extent to which information and having one's facts right just have never played into this for the last 8 years. And then we wonder why it's taken 10 years for us to get to the point of doing anything. And when we get to that point, we do something just plain, as Supervisor Smith says, is to call it ludicrous is to say the nicest thing about it that I can think of.
Supervisor Delbar?
Mr. Chairman, I apologize if I misspoke. I do know the difference between the council and the center, and if I used the wrong terminology, I apologize. It's no indication of my ignorance of anything, Mr. Supervisor Colfax. With that, Mr. Chairman, let's call the motion.
Okay, the motion has been, the vote has been called for. Let's go to the buttons and place our votes.
Motion carries with Supervisor Smith and Colfax dissenting.
Okay. One last comment. I believe any action we took today was going to be brought about in a legal action at a later date from either direction. So just comment from the chair. Let's see. We do have folks here for BOE. Do we want to finish up the last couple of items? We just basically have appointments and committee report, and that's it. So you want to take those up before we go to BOE? Okay. Is that objection? Okay. Okay, let's finish up this. Let's go to appointments before us. Supervisor Delbar.
Mr. Chairman, I move the reappointment of Jim Eddy to the Golden Gate Bridge and Highway Transportation District Board.
Okay, which is item, let me look, item CC, public member, Golden Gate Bridge, Highway and Transportation District. Motion was for Jim Eddy to be reappointed. Do I hear a second, Supervisor?
I got a question. Is this for a annual, is this for a period of term?
I believe it's every 2 years. Is that correct?
Is that correct?
It's a 2-year term.
I will support the motion.
So is that a second?
Yeah, just as long as it, for the record, that it determines it's a 2-year term.
I'd like the motion to reflect that.
Yes, please. Yep. So there is a motion and a second to reappoint Mr. Eddy to the Golden Gate Bridge Transportation District. Any comments to the motion? Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, I'm sorry.
I had a comment. To the chair, I don't, you've handled the appointments thus far. Yeah, I don't understand why this is coming to us at the final meeting of the Board of Supervisors for this year, today and tomorrow. I don't recall, I've been on the Board of Supervisors now 4 years, and I don't believe we took action on it 2 years ago, nor 2 years before that. So I'm just concerned with the timing. I'm concerned that we've got new supervisors coming in. I'm not concerned about Mr. Eddy per se. I'm concerned, once again, about the process. We talked in the last hearing, the last issue. It was clearly a process concern. And I have a similar concern about this. This is coming forward sort of at the 11th hour, and it seems to me this could wait till the new board is seated in January. I also think for an appointment as important as this, I was unaware of it until seeing it on the agenda for our final meeting. Actually, it wasn't scheduled for the final meeting. It was scheduled for the meeting last week, and it was continued, of course, to today. But I really think for something like this, we really ought to interview the applicants. We ought to see their resumes, and we ought to hear about their perceptions of why they believe they're the appropriate person to represent us on this very, very important district. And of course, hear from Mr. Eddy as to what his contributions are and why he would like his term to be extended. He's been there for some period of time, and I think it would be appropriate to hear from him. As we've got two other names here, and I think it would be appropriate to have those individuals in front of us, similarly that we do for the planning commission seats, for I think what we call the timber seat and the agricultural seat. And we have those individuals come before us in a panel format, and then we ask them questions. And I think that would be appropriate for this position as well. And I think there's ample time to do that. We could take that up in early '09 if it needs to be an appointment. I just don't know when, maybe the clerk has that information. I don't know when this appointment was last made, but I don't think it was made 2 years ago. So obviously, there's no problem with Mr. Eddy continuing in this position till we can fully hear from the three applicants and take the time and give it the importance I think it deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Pinches, I'm sorry, Supervisor Colfax, I believe, is next.
Well, I concur with Supervisor Smith. I think here that Jim may have done an outstanding job on the board, but the other side of it is that we have other applicants, and this is a 11th hour move. And I feel here that this should be something that the board that has to live with the results of this kind of decision, just as they're going to have to live with the previous decision that took place, should be given an opportunity to have a voice in it. Everything doesn't end on December 31st for those of us who are left here in a number of these positions, and you can keep getting your 3-2 votes out, but I'll tell you, I will regard that as a really unfortunate end of this particular term, which has been reasonably agreeable and so forth. This is end of the term kind of let's a little bit like girls going wild kind of enterprise, and I'm a little bit distressed by this this madcap but entertaining, I'm sure, performance by the 5 of us here. Let's just declare the rest of the day 3-2 day, and we can all go home and shovel snow and get some really important work done.
Supervisor Pinches?
Well, I think Jim Eddy would be amused to be compared with Girls Gone Wild. So, you know, first of all, Mr. Eddy was a 3rd District supervisor for 20 years. I think, in my opinion, that deserves a lot of request or a lot of respect, and he wishes to serve for a period, you know, and by the process, by making this a 2-year appointment, whatever happened in the past and not being appointed on a regular basis, that kind of eliminates that. So, but I certainly would support Jim. I'm sure he's one of the issues is he's up for chairman on the Golden Gate Bridge District next year, and that could have a considerable positive impact on Mendocino County if we talk about Bridge District policies and procedures, and maybe even the chance of talking the Bridge District into helping out Mendocino County with part of our transportation issues, as we were part of that 30-year bond and deadness to the Bridge District. I think it's time maybe that the Bridge District ought to think about getting some benefits back into Mendocino County as far as transportation projects. So that's an issue that I certainly want to communicate with Mr. Eddy here in the near future. But I do have an applicant from my district that has applied, and certainly I'm sure she'll certainly be interested in it in 2 years. But I just think out of respect for the long-term service of Jim Eddy as a Board of Supervisor and the long-term service as a Bridge District Director, I think that we kind of owe it to a certain level of continued services. Like I say, he will be up for chairmanship next year, and I don't want to shoot him out of the saddle on a chance to get that. So that's why I'm supporting him.
Okay, any further discussion?